Good morning, good evening, and wherever the sun may find you. My name is Walt, and this is Coffee and Concepts on Keystroke Medium. This morning, we wanted to dive into a little bit of do it yourself, and we're going to do a whole kind of like do it yourself month this month as we dig into our coffee thing. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was maybe you kind of got your taste for coffee, and now you're really starting to go hog wild for it. And in doing so, you decide that, hey, we have Josh Hayes signing in saying, yo, good morning, sir. The captain of the ship, as it were, joining us for our show this morning. So, say you get into coffee and then you really, really, really want to start playing with it. What happens when you stay up all night writing? You get to watch one of these. To me, it's almost 5 a.m. Well, it's a little later for that for me here, but we appreciate you coming out, man. Coffee Concepts, woohoo! And we got Patty Finn. Yes, ready to up my coffee game. So let's say you want to up that coffee game. You want to start roasting it yourself. If you watched last week's show, we had Joe Gallagher from Ravenfish Coffee on, and he was talking about roasting at home. So I thought, what a great way to segue into talking about doing it yourself and roasting at home. So one of the things I love to do in both writing and pretty much anything is to hack the crap out of stuff. If I can get a cool, quick fix for something that helps me kind of up my game a little bit or try something new, it's always fun to do it that way. I know that guy. He's okay. I know the Facebook user too. I've seen him once or twice. So let's say you want to get into roasting coffee, but you're not really quite sure how to do it. There's a couple of cool cheating ways to where it's almost like bulletproof, where you don't even have to worry about it. One of the things that you can hack and kind of make it real quick, and you're not going to believe this, air pop popcorn makers. Is one of the easiest ways to roast coffee. One of the things it does, it produces really high heat in order to crack the kernel of popcorn. It allows you, most of these pour in the top models, especially the Orville Redenbacher one that you got here, has a see-through cover, so that you can kind of watch things going on and give it a little listen, and you'll hear why in a moment. And allows you to dump it fairly easily without burning the crap out of yourself, right? The previous guy was an imposter, the Facebook user. Hey, William Joseph Roberts, what's up, man? So these air poppers are actually a quick and convenient way to produce your own roasted coffee at home. I'm getting to that. Yeah, he's saying do it outside or remove your smoke detectors. Yes, I'm going to get to that in a second. This is the easiest cheat in order to kind of get your coffee at home, or roast your coffee at home rather, so that you can what do you call it? And that's Joe Gallagher, who is our Facebook user. Funny that we were just talking about that you were on last week. So you're doing your thing. You're roasting at home. You're doing your thing. You're roasting at home. You want to try this out. So you're going to pour about maybe a half a cup in there. Patty's saying, roasted my own grains when making stout once. Almost burned the house down. You were making beer, so do your thing, man. You do you. You pour those unroasted coffee beans in there. You want about a half a cup in there to try and see where your happy place is in these popcorn makers, because too much and you're not going to get the heat required to crack the outer kernel of the bean. Too little and you could end up burning them really quick. So start with about a half a cup, pour it in the top, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to really keep an eye on it. These things pretty much only have one temperature setting, and in doing so, you you're really going to want to watch things as it progresses. So then, excuse me, cat in the way. So as the things start to roast at about the 1.5 to 2 minute mark, you're going to start hearing a popping, almost like popcorn sound. Okay, those are the kernels cracking. What's happening is in the inside, there's a lot of trapped moisture in unroasted beans, and as they heat up, the moisture cracks the outer kernel. Joe was actually talking about this on the show last week. And that first crack is kind of like where you want to be if you're going to do a light roast. So a light roast typically is has a little more acidity. It's got a lot more caffeine, and it it has a very sharp taste. So a lot of bitter behind the taste. There's nobody standing behind me. In doing a light roast, you're basically listening to that first crack, and right around the 3-minute mark is really, you don't want to go too more deep than that, because after 3 minutes, you're going to start getting into that second crack, and the beans are going to get really dark, and now you're heading into like medium roast territory. But we'll do more on that another time. So the next thing you're going to want to have to grab, and a lot of these things are available commercially at your typical big box store, or through the Zon or anything like that. So the next thing you're going to want to grab is you're going to want to grab a colander. Okay, so once the beans hit that first crack for a light roast, you're pretty much done. You're going to shut the machine off, unplug it, because, reasons. It's us we're talking about. And then you're going to pour them into the colander, and then you're just going to give them a toss. You're going to sit there and just toss them back and forth, toss them back and forth. Time, temperature, and rotation to customize your roast. Yes, sir. And then also good house insurance, definite a plus. Okay. So we're going to get to that in a second. Okay. So take that colander. We want to cool these beans down so that they don't continue to heat on the inside, and that pressure caused by the venting gases doesn't crack the outer kernel even more. So you're just going to toss them in the air a little bit. Now, one of the things this also does, and the part of the reason you're using a colander versus a bowl, the colander promotes a lot of airflow, so that you're cooling the beans down very rapidly. The other thing that it does is it helps remove the chaff. So you're going to get the more you roast these beans, the more burnt outer kernel you're going to get. And you want to pull all that like smoky ash almost off of the bean. And then I recommend doing this either over a bathtub or like outside. Outside is best, just because of the fact that all this ash is going to get caught in the wind. It's going to blow away and not land on all your unmentionables. Now, going back to what we were talking about earlier, if you're going to do your own roast, right, these things produce a lot of steam and heat. One of the things that it can do is it can always set off the fire alarm. So you want to make sure that either you have a kitchen with great ventilation or a great fan, maybe even some of those like air handlers that pull all the smoke and debris out of the air as you're cooking, or you're going to want to do this outside if possible. Outside is easiest. Otherwise, your smoke detector, if you're going for like a real dark roast, you're going to kick off. So just be careful and kind of keep an eye on things and watch the smoke. Do it in a well ventilated area. If you got a fan, a kitchen fan, kick that thing on into high gear. This is going to be a noisy process anyway, so adding one more thing into the mix isn't going to kill you. So that's so box fan under the colander speeds up the cooling process, or remove it, or remove right before the next roast profile, which would be that second crack. Blah 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 blah. So that's our resident expert, Joe. Man, I should have just had you on the show. Can you come on next week so we can talk about medium roast? So hit me up in the comments. So yeah, you really want to make sure that you're careful with this, because just like throwing a turkey in one of those like fried fryolators outside, we don't want to start any fires, any problems, blah blah blah. Joe's saying, yeah, I'll come on next week. So quick and dirty way, this Oh, Josh donating to the cause. Hey, Josh, thanks for the donation. Really appreciate it, man. Is there something wrong with my smoke detector? It goes off every time I walk into the kitchen. That's because you, sir, are hot stuff. So then, yeah. So the popcorn maker, quick, dirty, easy. A lot less manipulation on your part. Next week, we're going to go into doing this over the stove, and doing it with in a skillet or a frying pan, cast iron. We'll go into all of that, and we'll also talk about bringing this from that first crack, which is a light roast, and then bring that into the medium roast. So now. Excuse me. So now I want to get into, let's say you're writing or you're reading, you got an author platform that you feel is important, or you got a reading list that you think other people will enjoy. And there, if you go on YouTube, there are a plethora of people who are doing review podcasts, interviews with authors and stuff like that. But say you wanted to start one on your own. So there's a lot of things that people use and talk about. And we've done a series before on the Writer's Journey, which is Kayleen and Lauren's show on Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we've done a series on, producing your own podcast, what kind of software to use, where to broadcast it from and stuff like that. So I want to kind of live in the cracks, get it, crack, because the bean cracks with the, never mind, dad joke. So I want to live in the cracks of this a little bit and go from more of some of the things that you don't, Nathan's like, do you team up? You want us to team up with Keystroke? Sure, of course. Say you want to get that podcast going and you want to kind of live in the cracks a little bit. And what are some of the things that people aren't talking about? So some of the basic tools that you're going to need right off the bat. The first thing you got to decide is, are you going to do this from your PC or are you going to do this from your cell phone? Because there are avenues for both and they don't necessarily always cross over. So the joke saying, man wants to live in the crack, only the first crack. Well, for the moment. So say you want to start out. The first thing you want to decide is, do you want to do this very easy cell phone, iPhone, iPad, your regular tablet, or do you want to go full on PC? You're going to have more tools with the PC that are available. But as cell phone technology starts to kind of ramp up, the divide between doing a podcast on your cell phone, more mobile, more access to interviewing people, in the native environment, say we wanted to go to a coffee house and see how a coffee house roasts or something like that, I'm more inclined to do this on a cell phone than I'm going to be taking a laptop with me, just because of the cumbersome aspect of the laptop versus the portability, and now actually really prolific tools that you can get on one of these. So that's the first thing you're going to kind of have to dig yourself through. And I want to more talk about the starting off of the microphone. So if you notice in all my videos, I'm wearing this particular headset. This is a Logitech H340. They're fairly inexpensive. You can get them. Right on big box stores or any online retailers and stuff like that. They have a pretty good sound. Good, clear, easy pickups for your timbre. It's away from your mouth just enough so that you're not spitting on the microphone, and so you don't necessarily need like a big pop filter to sit over this to keep you those hard P's and T's sounds from messing up your audio. So this is a really easy, quick choice for starting out if you're using the PC. Also, if you're using the PC, another clear choice would be a desktop audio when you're watching Josh, Scott, and Chuck on their Monday show, which is Keystroke Medium Live. You see a lot of those guys have like desktop microphones. And the desktop microphone I use is the Samson. I love this microphone, because it's super portable. You can put it on a variety of surfaces due to the legs, but those legs also fold up. and there is a base mount in the base so that you can screw it right onto a boom arm so that you can put it or maneuver it wherever you want on your desk. I also like that it has audio controls on the outside, both for mute and also for sound control coming back, feeding through the headset. So yeah, if you're doing that through your PC, those are two excellent choices to kind of get your game going versus just using your webcam mic. Because the bad thing about a webcam mic is it picks up a lot of external audio. I mean, a lot of times you're going to sound like you're in a wind tunnel, and even the most minute sounds it might pick up at a distance, which can be kind of distracting for the audience. I know. The one that I'm using has some minor sound canceling stuff to it because I have animals, and especially the cat. He always wants to get in the show, and him jumping up on things, off of things, me hitting him with the squirt bottle. Yeah, Josh is putting in his love for the dynamic or condenser mics, which is what I have right behind me, and yeah, they're really, really great. The thing about a condenser mic versus what I'm wearing now, if I need to maneuver myself around my desk, I don't lose audio quality. With a condenser mic, the sweet spot is usually between 6 to 8 inches from your face, and you're gonna want a pop filter, either just like a little like clown nose looking thing pushed right over the front of it, or they have these circles that you can put, which is basically has like a sheer fabric over it, and it just keeps those hard P or T sounds from activating the microphone and sounding like a big snap. Right, so you don't want that. You want the ability to sound clear and concise, which the condenser mics do a lot better than what I'm using now. But at the same time, you also want the ability to not shock your audience with hard sounds that they didn't expect. So that's just a little tidbit. Next week, we're going to go into microphones to use when you're on location for the cell phone. Where you're going to be more mobile, a little easier to produce because they have a lot of apps and tools to use, and especially if you're not editing, because editing can take your 20-minute podcast and turning it into a 2-hour endeavor. But that's another story for another time. Apparently, Joe Gallagher is going to come on the show and talk about roasting, which we're going to love. And we really appreciate you coming out this morning. Nice crew, nice turnout today. I want to say, don't forget to check out Josh, Scott, and Chuck, who are doing their live show at Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern. He was talking on the show this Monday. It was like, there is only one time, and standard time is the only time. The live show is the only time we don't talk about time zones. So I'm Eastern, so I need it. I need me some time zones. So we have obviously Coffee and Concepts, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, where we dive into a few concepts here and there Josh is actually sending us the microphone he uses. I'm going to pop that up on the screen a little bit, and then we can share that so that you guys at home can see what he's using. So the Audio Technica ATR 2100 USB cardioid dynamic USB XLR microphone. I cannot believe I just said that and my face didn't explode. So yeah, that looks like a pretty good mic based on the biggest thing for something like this, dynamic plug and play, because a lot of unplug and play microphones that you can't just hook into a PC or shove into the back of a cell phone. One of the big problems with those is sometimes with condenser microphones, you need a sound profile board and it's a series of equalizer switches and dials that allows you to alter gain and pitch so that you don't sound like a hyper popping chickmunk in the middle of a firefight. So that's a really good catch. Thank you, Josh. Speaking of really good catches, on Saturday nights now we have Lauren and Kayleen at 8 p.m. Eastern doing the Writer's Journey, where they dive into all aspects of reading and writing, from the seasoned professional to the adventurous novice looking to break in. We have James S. Aaron doing writing shows and live writing demos weekly on YouTube, and Josh Gayu doing long form storytelling also on YouTube, where they dive into the deep, dark heart of matters over several hours of a show. Speaking of YouTube, like and subscribe. The buttons are there. You can see them, press them, hit them. Like it, live it, love it. We thank you very much for coming out this morning and for sharing a little bit of your coffee with us as we drill into a couple of concepts right here on Keystroke Medium. Guys, have a great morning.